Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of the happiest hour on earth. Tonight, we're so excited because we are going to be joined by a very special guest. We are going to be having Kalen Kelly from DCappella join us to talk about her journey, where she started, how she got started with DCappella, all the things. We're so excited to have her on and hear her story. And we know you guys are going to love it as well. She's an amazing person. She's got the voice of an angel, and we are just so pumped to have her on the show. So she'll be on here very shortly. Before that, though, do you want to introduce our drink for tonight?
Yeah, definitely. So we know that Kalen loves Star Wars, and it's a good time for Star Wars fans right now. You know, we just had Star Wars Celebration in Europe. Mandalorian is on its final 2 episodes by the time we're filming this. And so we had to make a drink from Oga's Cantina. Yes, we made the Takodana Quencher. And look at this thing. Look at how beautiful that is. It's the color of Grogu. So perfect. maybe a little lighter. Kind of like Luke's lightsaber. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then Em had to bust out the amazing Mandalorian tiki mug that we had.
Yep.
And so this has some kiwi, some dragonberry rum, some tropical juices, and blue curacao. And so I am really, really excited to try this. And should we just cheers and go for it?
Let's do it. I'm pumped
Cheers.
to try this. Cheers. Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
So good.
That's amazing.
That is so good.
That's really good.
We haven't had this at Oga's before. I don't think either of us have ever ordered it before.
Yeah. I think it's one that was not there from the start, and then they introduced it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we love all the drinks at Oga's, and this is a hit as well.
Very good.
This is amazing. So
Very good drink.
If you want to make this beautiful drink at home, go find our Instagram at the happiest hour on earth, and we have a reel on how we made this. And we have a lot of other reels on how to make Disney
reels.
cocktails, snacks, all that good stuff. So definitely go check that out. But with that, I'm ready to call up Kalen. Should we do it?
Ready. Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Kalen,
hi.
hello. Welcome to the show.
Y'all. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
We are so excited too. We've been really pumped for this episode for a while, ever since we scheduled it on the calendar. We've just been waiting. We're so excited.
Yeah, I feel like we've had this in the works for a couple of months.
Yeah.
I mean, ever since we saw, I don't know, your page, and we're like, oh my gosh, like Kalen's following us? What? Oh, that's exciting. And then when we first hit you up, we're like, we would love to talk to you about your story, how you got into just entertainment and how you joined DCappella. And you said yes. I was like, okay, this is going to be a great time. I'm so pumped.
We've been ready for this episode.
I love my job, but I've also just always been such a huge Disney nerd. So anytime I find content creators or podcasts or YouTube channels that are Disney focused, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to follow that. Give me that. If I go through all my followers, it's 14 friends and then Disney creators. That's pretty much it.
I love that.
So great. I mean, for you singing Disney songs as your job, I'm sure you definitely have to have a love for Disney too.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of a bummer if you're not a Disney fan and you're like, really? I gotta sing a Moana song
for
again?
Sure.
But yeah, I know it's great to know that you're also a big Disney fan.
Yes. And everybody in the group is a Disney fan in some way or another, right? Something that I always say is Disney music is the soundtrack of our lives. And I think that can be said for most people in America in some way, shape, or form. You know, Disney media has touched people across the globe at all different points in their lives. So we've all had a connection to Disney and Disney music in some way. I grew up going to the theme parks with my family. So I'm the Disney lore nerd, where people are like, oh, that's a cool ride. And I'm like, well, actually, let me tell you what it used to be. And what it's actually called MGM Studios, not Hollywood Studio. And I'm like, I'm that person. So
I love
that.
We have a lot of listeners that are like that too. Yeah. So I'm sure they really appreciate hearing that.
The true Disney nerds. That's what we love. It's so great. So for anyone who might not know who you are, I think most probably do if they're in the Disney community, but can you tell some of our listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yes. Yeah, so I'm Kalen Kelly. I am a singer. I'm the mezzo soprano in Disney's official a cappella group, DCappella. And like I said, I'm a huge Disney nerd. I've grown up with Disney, and to have this job, getting to travel the world and sing Disney music for people and in an a cappella style is absolutely like the dream, living the dream all day long.
It's amazing.
Awesome. So when did your love of music start? I feel like I always hear those stories of, kids like 2 years old, they knew like they want to be a percussionist. I'm in music as well, but that didn't start till a little bit later. But when did your kind of love for music start?
So I always joke about this, and you have a child, so maybe you'll think this is funny too. I had colic when I was born, so I cried for the first 6 months of my life, and I tell people that's how I developed my pop rock belt, is because I just cried for the first 6 months of my life. So I just really prepped my vocal cords from birth.
Nice.
I started singing in public when I was 4. My mom said that I would hear songs at the restaurants that we were eating at, and I would just stand up in my high chair and start singing them people wanted to hear me instead of the background music. And so they, my parents realized that I liked singing and that I had a talent for it. So I started singing from 4 years old pretty much, and sang all the way growing up. I saw Freaky Friday when I was 10 years old, and immediately wanted nothing more out of life than to be Lindsay Lohan in that movie. So my parents bought me an electric guitar, and I taught myself how to play it. And
she's pretty iconic.
Truly, it was always such an iconic movie. Me and my husband just watched it again the other day, and I was
it's so good.
Wow,
it never gets old.
This movie is
no
never
matter
gets
how old
old.
we get, right?
Seeing Jamie Lee Curtis and the whole punk outfit, I'm like, dude,
it is so good. Now
she looks so cool.
Yeah,
now Oscar winner Jamie Lee Curtis. We literally watched it the day after she won the Oscar, because I was I gotta go back to this. I gotta go back.
Yep.
And she's gonna be in Haunted Mansion as Madame
Leota,
which is perfect. She's gonna do so good.
Yeah,
so good.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, it was always
Continue.
no, it's okay. It's okay. It was always a hobby, and it was nothing that I ever was really pursuing as a career. I was actually a makeup artist for a while. I was in management and went down a training route with MAC Cosmetics, and was yep, I'm going to be a celebrity makeup artist. That was my goal. That's awesome. I did beauty pageants, and as part of the Miss America system, you have to do a talent, and so I sang, obviously. And someone that I met through pageants, jokingly, I said to her one day, I was like, oh yeah, if you ever need another singer at that show you do, let me know. Well, that show she did was a show at Universal Studios in Orlando, and she brought me in to audition and hired me, and I got approved for the show, and I quit my job the next day. And she was like, I don't have a full-time job for you. You're just a sub. This isn't, you might get called once every 2 weeks. And I was like, that's okay. I'll be available. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm doing this. And it was just this instantaneous thing that I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do with my life. Is
gosh,
so cool.
That's amazing.
So when did that happen, and what was the show? I'm so
excited. That was summer of 2014.
Okay.
And it was the Hogwarts School Choir. The a cappella quartet at Hogwarts. Yeah.
That's
Quintet.
amazing.
The frog's the bass.
Okay. Yeah. So, I was wondering, I was like, we haven't actually seen the show. We've only been to Universal Hollywood once since we got married, but I was going to say, is it the frog show? And so the frog.
Yes, it is the frog show. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
so
amazing.
I was the Hufflepuff. So I was
I love it.
In Orlando, only 2 of the 4 have frogs. I think it's different in Hollywood. So I was the girl with the frog.
Oh my gosh.
And so I was the Hufflepuff, which I am not a Hufflepuff. I'm a Slytherin, but that's a different podcast.
I could tell with the dark background you got going on there.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, the snake tattoos, that it pretty much gives it away.
That's awesome. Wait,
wow.
I don't want you to break the magic, but are you controlling the frog? Or is that okay.
Yeah,
cool.
we're buddies.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh man!
Oh my
gosh! You did that. I feel like I saw something on your Instagram too, where you were a Who, or around a Who. Were you also?
I was Martha May.
You were Martha May.
No way.
Yeah.
Was that after the Hogwarts?
I was still doing frog choir the first year that I booked Martha May. But the Martha May contract was full time, so I didn't do them like jump from one stage and go to the other. So for like the Christmas season, when they had Grinchmas at Orlando, Universal Orlando, I was Martha May in their Grinchmas show. So that was fun. That was so much fun. And then the last year I did it. So in that version of the show, Martha, it's not the love story with Martha and the Grinch, but Martha has like her sidekick, like best friend that kind of like accompanies her throughout the show. And his name is Carson. And so the last year I did it, my husband was my Carson. So we got to perform together for the whole season. It was really fun.
How cute is
so
that?
Fun.
So that was kind of your start, and then you got into music.
Yes.
So how did you join DCappella, and what was the audition process like to join the group?
So 2017, the end of 2017, there was an audition posting on, I think it was like Broadway World or Backstage or something like that. I didn't even see it. But I was doing an a cappella show at Universal Studios called Sing It. And everybody in the break room was talking about it. They were like, oh my gosh, there's this audition posting. It's for a Disney a cappella group, but it's not in the parks. It's a tour. And I was like, that's cool. I've always wanted to tour. That's always been like a goal of mine since I started singing. I was like, okay, I like doing theme park work. It's really fun. It's very consistent, but I want to travel. So I was like, okay, this sounds like fun. I'm going to do it. Procrastinated, imposter syndrome, wasn't going to do it. I had auditioned for Disney theme park for years and they never cast me in any of their shows. And so I was like, I'm just not supposed to work for Disney. Like I'm, whatever. Like I love Disney, but as a consumer, I guess. And I had talked myself out of auditioning. And I was at home and my husband came home from work. He was working somewhere else that day and he came home and he was like, did you do your audition? And I was like, no. He was like, it's due today. And I was like, I know, I'm not going to do it. He was like, yes, you are. You're going to do it. And this is a little behind the scenes. He poured me a shot of Fireball and said, drink this. And we're going to film your audition. And I was like, okay. Because he was like, you just need something to like break you out of this like mind loop, And so he filmed my audition for me. We had to sing Remember Me from Coco. And another song that was like our own choice to just like show off our vocal range. So I sang what's it called? Oh, Who's Lovin' You by the Jackson 5. And nice. I've never sung that song anywhere since then. So like I feel like I'm just gonna keep it in my heart forever as like my DCappella audition song. You're right. So I submitted the audition literally at 11 o'clock. It was due at midnight. And I just kind of forgot about it. I was like, okay, well, I did it, and at least I can say I did it, and I'm not going to worry about it. So a couple days later, people start talking about how you can see how many times your video has been viewed after you've uploaded it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I put mine in at the last minute. Like nobody's probably viewed it. Other people were like, oh, mine's been viewed 3 times. Mine's been viewed 4 times. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Let me just go see. My video had been viewed like a couple dozen times. And I was like, oh God, who's watching my video? Wow. So long story short, I get the call back. I fly to New York. 72 hours after submitting the video, I fly to New York, do the callback. Then they're like, okay, you're going to the next callback. You have to fly to LA. I'm like, okay. So I fly to LA for the next callback. We get there and I'm like counting. And they were like, yeah, it's not another callback. You all are in the group. We're recording the album now. And we were like,
surprise.
Okay. And they're like, here you go. And I like called my dad and I was like, I'm signing a record deal with Walt Disney Records. Like he was like, I thought you were just auditioning. I was like, yeah, me too, bro. And then we signed everything. They let us, look over it and like if we needed to send it to any representation or whatever, they gave us that time. But it was pretty cut and dry. And we signed the contract and started recording the album. That was January 2018 that we were in LA recording the album, and it's just been like ever since.
That is amazing. I can't believe it happened that way. Like you were just like,
it was wild.
Going to audition.
I was like, I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. And I'm over it. And then my husband was like, no, you have to do it. So if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be
Let's give it up
you
for
to your
Kalen's
husband.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Give it up for
We gotta-
Zach. Zach Simpson.
Zach.
Give it up for Zach.
Come on.
He made it happen.
And the shot of Fireball. Come on.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
thank you.
love it.
Yeah, shout out to that shot of Fireball. She's a real one.
That's amazing.
That's
Wow.
so cool.
What an amazing story.
So you said that you had been in a cappella groups in the past. Was Universal the first time you were a part of an a cappella group? Did you do like music outside of that wasn't a cappella? I'm just so fascinated by a cappella groups because it's so different going from like a lead singer in like a band where you're the singer and there's, you know, the accompaniments and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Then like everyone is singing.
It's just
and
voices.
you have to kind of vibe
Yeah.
with it. That's so
lot of
crazy
pressure.
to do. But yeah, what was your
It
journey
is.
with like a cappella groups?
So the first a cappella group I was in was Frog Choir at Universal. Other than that, I did choir for 1 year when I was in high school, and that was it. I had never been in a true a cappella group other than like a women's ensemble, you know, chorus type of thing. But like in terms of like contemporary pop a cappella, I had never done anything like that. And so Frog Choir was the first thing, and that's like kind of choral music, but they spice it up a little bit. Some of the songs are a little more pop. And then I had been doing that for a year or two when they opened a show called Sing It at Universal, which was a 7-part pop a cappella group, contemporary pop a cappella. And it was kind of a spin off of Pitch Perfect. So we did like the riff off, and it was like a boys versus girls and stuff like that. So that was my first experience with pop a cappella. Was doing theme parks for Universal. And then the company that I worked for, we were at Universal, but it's like third-party entertainment. So that company was able to take me and utilize me in other a cappella groups for parties, corporate events, stuff like that. So I did a lot of a cappella from 2014. I mean, really until now, but from 2014 all the way through 2018, I was pretty much only doing a cappella. And then on the weekends, I would do band gigs. So yeah, like
that's awesome.
weddings and corporate events, I was fronting a band on the weekends. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
fun.
Wait, what style was the band? Was it
Like top 40, like
Top 40s?
everything,
Okay.
anything you can think of. Yeah. So we were a
fun.
party band. So you could hire us for private events, weddings, stuff like that. So pretty much anything that you would want to hear at a party, I sang.
Yeah. That's so
That's awesome. How fun.
Yeah.
With like being a part of an a cappella group, you know, you said that you finally got the whole group together for DCappella. Is it
Yeah.
hard? I mean, I guess not hard. I don't want you to be like, yeah, these people were really hard to get along with, but like, does it take a little bit to kind of vibe with the people and kind of figure out who's doing what? And, or since you had been a part of a cappella groups in the past, was that kind of like smooth? But does it take a while to like gel with the new people that you just met?
Yeah, there's a level of trust that you have to have with your fellow singers when you're singing a cappella, because like you said a second ago, there aren't any instruments. You can't rely on a band. If you know, fronting a band or, you know, singing karaoke or something like that, if you mess up, the music keeps going. But with a cappella, it's not necessarily the same, right? Like everybody's depending on each other. So yeah, it takes a little bit of finesse and time to build that trust, but never in a contentious way. It's just like, oh, you're singing that this way. You're adding this vibrato, or you're doing this riff or a trill here. That sounds cool. I'm going to do that with you. And okay, so what if we did it this way? It's a ton of communication. And so you have to get to know each other really quickly and you have to be comfortable with communicating without judgment, because I'm not ever saying that somebody's doing something wrong, and I don't ever feel like I'm being told I'm doing something wrong. We're all just trying to make the best music we can. And as long as you have that attitude, you can build that trust very quickly, and it never has to be like, oh, I don't know these people. This is weird. No, it's always fun, especially when you come into it with an open mind.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
you guys
so
all
cool.
sound perfect together.
Thank you. We try. We rehearse a lot and we practice a lot.
I'm sure. So who typically comes up with these song arrangements? Like, is it you
So we
guys, or do you
have-
have someone that coordinates that kind of thing?
We have an arranger. So our primary arranger is Deke Sharon, who is famous for Pitch Perfect. So he did all the arrangements for the Pitch Perfect series. And he does a lot of like contemporary modern pop a cappella. And so from day one, he helped conceptualize the group and the show. And he is our primary arranger. We have also worked with Ben Bram, who's done arrangements for Pentatonics. And then RJ in the group and Orlando in the group have both done arrangements for us as well.
So
awesome.
cool.
Deke does most of them, but we have a few that are outliers.
That's so cool.
Great.
Yeah, I'm always curious like how that process is, because there's like some twists on some songs, and there's just I love that you guys, I mean, just the Just Around the River Bend and Colors of the Wind, how it starts off so emotional and so beautiful. I love that one, but then it just kind it
gets
picks up
groovy
the pace later. Yeah, and I love it. And we're like, oh man, how did people come up with this? It's so awesome.
RJ did that one actually.
Oh, really?
It's one of our favorites. Yeah, so RJ arranged that for us. And it's so good. He drew a lot of inspiration from like his own musical inspirations in terms of like like 2000s R&B and like boy band kind of stuff. So like when that vibey groove comes in, especially when we perform that one live, when we did it on tour, we would all just like we're all just dancing the whole time. It was good.
It's so good. Fun. Oh my gosh. So I love how you guys make it your own. It's they all just sound so good.
Thank you. It's really fun because sometimes you want the music or the song to be straightforward, and sometimes you're like, okay, we've heard this song enough, how can we change it? Like for things that are super iconic, like Frozen, we have like our Frozen medley, right? Which is Do You Want to Build a Snowman and Let It Go. It's like those songs are too recent and too iconic currently for us to really deviate from what they sound like, but we can still make them different by making them a mashup, right? Or when we did Into the Unknown, it's still good. Pretty much the same, but we did the Panic at the Disco version, so we did like a rock version instead of the movie version. So and there's other songs that we just completely turn all the way upside down, like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Just became this like pop punk Avril Lavigne. Like I was feeling like Avril Lavigne in the studio for that one. It was great.
That's so. I love that you guys like think about that too. Just the whole idea of which ones should we really hold on to, like the core of the song, and which ones could we have a little more fun with. Another one that kind of switches up on you is Hawaiian Roller Coaster Ride, where like the original, it sounds like the original, and then it totally takes that turn of like that like kind of punk stuff. But I have to ask,
it's like it's fully ska. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's so good.
So
when I was listening to that, I was like, wait, are these all just voices? Because that guitar solo, or just the guitar, sounds so much like a real guitar, and I'm like, is it literally?
It's Orlando. That's Orlando.
Unbelievable.
So that's Orlando Dixon, our baritone. And when we got that arrangement, there was nothing in his line on the chart. It was just like guitar solo.
He's like, okay, no problem.
Right.
So Orlando talked to Deke and was like, what do you mean? Like, what's going on? So he actually spent a few days before that recording session, like watching videos of Jimi Hendrix to figure out like not only what a guitar solo should sound like, but like how to physically embody that. So then when we did it on tour, he does it live on tour.
Oh my God.
And he's like, he goes like full blown like guitar soloist. And so what they did was they processed his vocal just like they would process a guitar, like through a pedal. So they put like the distortion on it that you would normally get from a guitar, like a pedal board. They did all of those same things, but to his voice to make it sound like that. So we're able to do it live because they just put his voice through like the same effects that you would a guitar in concert, and it is so freaking cool. Like every time he does it, I'm like supposed to be singing a part on stage, and I'm just like, "Go Orlando!" Like, just yelling.
A little hard to focus.
I love that.
Right? So hard to focus.
We definitely have to find a video of that because I'm just so impressed. Well, I mean, your guys' singing, the harmonies, but then also the beats where it's like, wait, are you sure that's a voice?
Yeah, like how can that be real?
We were just watching Antonio's on his page. He has some like beatboxing stuff, and our son was just loving it.
Yeah,
he like
kept asking to watch it over
10
and over.
times. But I think that was the first time he ever saw beatboxing, and I was like, All right. Yeah. He might
So
grow up to
impressive.
be a
Yeah,
beatboxer.
he was into it.
Oh, yeah.
Loving
For
it.
sure. That is so cool.
How old is your son?
He's 2.5. A little over 2.5. Yeah.
Precious.
So maybe by
sweet.
4, I feel like 4 is a prime time to
Yeah,
kind of
maybe
know
he'll
if they're,
be-
Absolutely.
they're
Yeah.
entertainers.
Just
Yeah.
just FaceTime Antonio and be like, hey, can you teach our kids to boots and cats?
Yes.
I like thought I was like, oh yeah, do it, and I was like trying to do it, and then I was like, ooh,
Like,
I sound a little
I'm
rough,
gonna
but I
try that
think
again.
you know,
We're not going to be the one to
That's how
teach him
I
that.
when we did the song from Turning Red, Nobody Like
Oh
You.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have to start that song going
Oh, yeah.
boots and cats and I was like, should I? Antonio, what? And he's like, no, it's supposed to be
Supposed to.
silly. Like you're supposed
Yeah.
to be doing boots and cats. You're not supposed to be
my God.
actually beatboxing.
Oh,
and I
that's
was like,
so funny.
okay, are you sure? And then I ended up in our tour in Japan. There's a song on the first album called Step in Time
Oh,
that Kiana, one of our altos, did. And I really wanted to keep it in the show, even though we didn't have an alto on our last tour. So I was like, hey, can I do Step in Time? And they were like, can you beatbox? And I was like, Antonio, can I beatbox? And he was like, I'll teach you. And so Antonio taught me how to beatbox so I could do Step in Time on
Oh my
tour.
gosh.
oh my god.
And it was so hard. Like I couldn't even do it for you right now if I wanted to, because like my mouth just doesn't want to move like that. It was so
Oh, yeah.
like antithetical to everything I know as a singer. It was so strange.
That's what I was gonna say. Like going from
So
singing
different.
to beatboxing, like you really got to switch everything up.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be really tough. And on that like topic of, so we know that you beatboxed in one song. Is it interesting when you go in, because it sounds great when it's as a whole song, but I'm thinking of Cantina Band, and then also I think one of the Halloween ones you do where there's like some laughing and all that stuff. Is it funny to go in the studio and just be like, okay, record a laugh or like record some like alien voices? Was that? Did it
Yes.
take another fireball shot too? You know, kind of.
No. For that stuff, like I will say for me, I have worked, just like get real a second. I've worked really hard in my adult life to like release the fear of judgment.
Nice.
And as a performer, it's really hard because you're inherently judged for everything you do, whether it's being in an audition room or being on stage trying to sell a show to people, right?
Yeah.
So actually working from home and recording from home during the pandemic really helped me with that, because I was able to just shut the door, you know, send the dogs and my husband and my sister and whoever out of the room and just do stuff like that and experiment and play. So it ended up being really liberating in a lot of ways, getting to do those things by myself instead of in the studio.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the Nightmare Before Christmas medley is so funny. One day, there's a video of it on Instagram somewhere. I'll have to go find it. But one day we were like doing a content shoot and Joe and I were sitting in the van waiting for something, and he started singing his bass line. So I started singing my part from the song, and hearing the two of those parts without any other context was so ridiculous, because my part is like, la la, what's this? La 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 la, what's this? La? And like it doesn't make any sense. And then he's singing a bass line, and it's so silly out of context.
So
For
funny.
sure.
But yeah, when you get them all
Yeah.
together, then it's this
Yeah,
beautiful
then it's
piece.
perfect.
Yeah,
It's
that's
magic. Sometimes when
Crazy.
we're recording those things, we're like, I want to text Deke and be like, bro, what were you thinking? And then I'll hear it like layered into everything, and I'm like, oh,
That's what
you got a
had
big
in
brain.
mind.
I got the small brain. You got the big brain.
That's so funny.
Oh my
The
god.
long-term goals. He's thinking
Yeah, he
ahead.
sees,
Exactly,
he sees the future.
exactly.
He knows how it's going to turn
Exactly.
out.
Yeah. And speaking of like working from home, like during the pandemic and everything, what was that like? Because you joined the group before the pandemic, and what has been, you know, in studio, and what has been in your personal studio that you're in right now?
Yeah. So from 2018, January 2018 to February 2020, anytime we recorded was always in the studio. And because not everybody lived in LA, they would fly us all out and we would do these like huge batch recordings. So the first album, what is the first album? Like 13 songs, I think, is on our debut album. And we recorded that in 8 days, something like that. And then every time after that, we would get together for like 3 or 4 days and record like anywhere between 5 and 10 songs in the studio at once. So then after February 2020, we have actually not been back in a studio recording setting. So during COVID, Disney, some of us had equipment at home, some of us didn't, and they wanted us to keep recording, obviously, stay top of mind, keep the fire going through COVID, not only for us, but for fans and for people who enjoy our music. Yeah. And so they hooked a lot of us up with some really incredible equipment, and pretty much everything that we've released from fall 2020 through now has all been recorded remotely. So we all have our own like studio setups. This mic has traveled the world. I recorded one of our songs. I recorded This Is Me from Camp Rock. I recorded in Hawaii on vacation. Oh my God. Because the call came in and they were like, hey, we need this done in a week. And I was like, I'm going on vacation. And they were like, well, okay. And I said, I'll take my mic with me, I guess. So I recorded This Is Me from Camp Rock in Hawaii.
Was it a closet or a bathroom or what was it?
No, it was in there was enough room, and truly there weren't enough clothes in the closet to make the closet work as like a dampening space. Yeah. So if I can find the video of it, I'll like send it to you guys or like post it the day that this airs so we can have some like B-roll for it. But my friends took a video because they went out to get coffee to like give me some privacy, and they came back and I'm like hunched over the bed with my laptop is on a pillow. I'm holding the mic because I don't have a stand. I'm holding the mic and I have the comforter from the bed over me. And I've created like a little like sound dampening dome. And I'm like, na, 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 like just ridiculous background parts. And they're like filming me from like through the crack in the door. So perfect. Yeah, that was one of the crazier setups. I've done other songs on the road before, like with the closet thing, like just set it up in the closet with all the clothes. Some of the stuff from our most recent Christmas release was actually recorded while we were on tour in Japan. There was some stuff that we had to go back in and re-record, and I was the only one with a mic, so everybody was like musical chairs with my mic, and we recorded some stuff for that. But yeah, it was
how cool. handy that you had it.
I know,
right? I learned to take it everywhere because sometimes there would be something that would come in and they would need it turned around, and I like to be prompt. I was really trying to be prompt, and I don't want to hold anything up. So it comes in like a beautiful case, and luckily I have like a beefy laptop that can run all the audio processing software. So I just like have my mic in the case, I have my interface, and I've got my laptop, and as long as I have those 3 things, I could record anything from anywhere.
That is
very
so
smart.
Awesome. And you would never think that it was recorded like separately in your own home studios. It sounds just so perfect.
Truly, like shout out to our like sound engineers, like Ted Trembinski, Ed Boyer. They're the real ones because they took some, I'm sure, wonky audio from wherever we sent it from and made magic. Exactly.
That is so
amazing.
Cool.
Wow.
I love hearing about that.
That's amazing. So you recently became a member of the Recording Academy. For anyone that doesn't know what that is, can you explain what the organization is and what it means to be a member?
Yeah. So the Recording Academy, just at its most basic function that everybody would know, is who's responsible for the Grammy Awards every year. And it differs from like the Academy Awards for film because that is like an academy of people that are like voted in and stuff like that. It's like a whole different organization, whereas the Grammys are peer voted. So you get nominated to become a member of the Academy, and you go through an interview process and kind of we had to submit like a bio about ourselves and our accolades and like things that we had done and accomplished, and why we thought what we did and provided as artists would be valuable to the Academy or to the Recording Academy, to the voting members. And we were nominated by a fellow a cappella group. So everybody in DCappella was nominated by Straight No Chaser.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was very cool. And so we went through the whole process, and we waited a couple months. We were like, okay, like, did we get in? I hope we got in. And the whole goal, coming from Straight No Chaser to us was just to kind of build the a cappella presence in the Academy, so that, we could kind of usher in a new genre of music. And Pentatonics was absolutely, what's the word I'm looking for? Pivotal in bringing acapella and pop acapella to the forefront of music for the general public. And so we just kind of they wanted to make more of a presence in the Academy. So Straight No Chaser nominated us and we got in. And so now I'm a voting member of the Grammys. So I get to participate in voting for the Grammys every year, as well as a lot of really cool artistry outreach programs. They have a program called Women in the Mix, which is talking all about women in careers in the music industry, and not just singers, but producers, engineers, mixers, like all those different types of positions. There's a lot of really, really cool initiatives within the Academy that I now get to be a part of. So it's very cool.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's an amazing honor. That's so cool that you get to be a part of that now.
Very, very, it was surreal. And because I lived in LA, they called me in and they had found me on social media, and the Recording Academy was like, hey, would you be interested in coming and doing an interview for us as a new member? And I was like, yeah. So I got to do like a whole like new member campaign on socials with the Recording Academy, and it was surreal. I was like, I had just moved to LA and I was like, this is crazy. What is my life?
That's so
awesome.
Amazing. Wow.
Do you, being a member, do you get a vote on every category, or is it just within your own personal? Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, you vote. It's a big responsibility because I want to do a good job, and I don't want to, I don't want to like half-ass it. I want to do a good job, and I want to know what I'm voting on. And so it was tough because the initial ballot that comes through, it was like 300 pages.
Oh my gosh.
I might be exaggerating. It felt like 300 pages of just everybody who had submitted and who had been accepted to submit that year. And so you kind of have to comb through that with more broad strokes. And then the second ballot that you get is smaller. And we're able to vote in every category.
Oh, okay. So is it like that big, broad first pamphlet? What did you say? That sounds ballot. Okay.
It's a PD. The ballot.
I was like, that sounds too like city government. But
it's just a PDF.
Yeah. Okay, nice. So does that come first, and then they just kind of whittle it down to that? What is it, 5 or 6, right, per category, and then you get a vote on the top ones? Well,
so the first time it gets like pared down is like out of like everybody that's submitted.
Wow.
So. Any submissions that have been approved from record labels, from independent artists, all of them go into the first ballot. And then from there, it gets cut down, I would say probably a little over, I'm trying to think. It's like 75 to 80%. It gets cut down pretty substantially. But there are also categories that we vote on that don't make it to the telecast. So we vote on everything, obviously, that ends up on the telecast, but there are also other things that get voted on and get awarded prior to the telecast. So it was still a pretty big document when we had to vote on the final ballot. And like, I tried to make it a point to go through and actually listen to every song and like, okay, this one I'm voting on the arrangement, not the vocals. Okay, this one I'm voting on the mix or the engineering of this, not the style of music. Like it's very specific. I took it as a big responsibility because like it was my first time voting, and it's peer reviewed, and I would want my peers to review me the same way.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, congratulations on being able to
Thank you.
join the
Thank you very much.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
so cool.
Thank you.
Love it. So okay, I want to hear what some of your biggest highlights have been singing with DCappella over the last few years.
That's hard.
I'm sure there's a lot of them.
There are truly so many. Okay. One that comes to mind. There's so many. First of all, okay, let's talk music videos. We filmed the music videos for You're Welcome and Into the Unknown the same day.
Wow.
So
that's a lot of work.
So we started.
I was just thinking like beach vibes to like forest vibes.
Yes. Oh no!
Wow.
Please explain.
I know.
Yeah.
So we started like early afternoon. I think it was in Malibu. I didn't live here at the time, so I'm not really sure if I'm saying all the things correctly. Sorry. I think we were in Malibu. So we started like mid-afternoon in Malibu, shot You're Welcome at sunset, like golden hour.
Oh my gosh.
And then as soon as we were done with that, we all like loaded up in like 2 vans. The guys were in one van and the girls were in another van because we did hair and makeup changes and wardrobe changes in the van.
Oh my
So we
gosh.
drove from Malibu. Yeah, we drove from Malibu to Topanga Canyon. And it was like this crazy, like this cool house that this guy rents out for like video shoots and stuff. And it took them like, I want to say 2 or 3 hours to set up all of the lights and fog because we were literally in the forest, like in this man's backyard. And so we're all like getting ready in the house and waiting around. It was 40 degrees. So we were not dressed for 40 degrees. Like in the video, Kelly's wearing like a mini skirt, like, and I think Morgan is too. We were not dressed for 40 degrees. So we were like super bundled up, and then they'd be like, all right, DCappella to set. And I would like waddle over because I was wearing stilettos and they were getting stuck in the dirt. But that was like a huge highlight because we did both of those videos in one day. We wrapped at like 2 a.m. and it was insane. And then we felt so good about it. We were so proud. And then once we saw the videos, we were like, this is the coolest thing we've ever done. Like, this is amazing. It was awesome. So that day and those 2 videos I love. And then obviously, I mean, you could have guessed this yourselves. The video that we got to do in Galaxy's Edge is will never, when we did the Cantina video in Galaxy's Edge in Oga's Cantina, I could cry about it still to this day. Like, I cried there. Like, we were filming and I was like, I'm good. It's fine. It's good. I'm fine.
Makeup.
I'm so glad we made Oga's Cantina drink. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Right?
Perfect.
So you guys, you know me so well.
I know. We were like,
Yes,
we
this
have
is
to
for you.
make a Star Wars drink.
You have to.
Gosh. Yes. Wait, so did you guys do that after park closing, or how was that? Okay. Did it still go to like 2 a.m. like the other ones?
We wrapped that one at 7 a.m. The sun was coming up.
Oh my gosh.
When we wrapped the Cantina Band video. Yeah, that one was a true overnight. They didn't shut the park early, so we had to wait. We were still like in wardrobe and hair and makeup, and there were still guests in the park. So we had to wait until they cleared the land before we were able to go in and actually like start getting set up. So it was a while. That one was a lot of waiting around because they couldn't start setting anything up in the land or in the cantina until the park was clear. So yeah, but it was cool.
That's amazing. So I know for like music videos for other like bands and stuff like that, they'll play the song and then you're kind of just like doing it. But for you, do they actually play the song and you guys are just kind of like lip syncing to it? Okay. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
That's
and that one
awesome.
was fun because that was the first music video. We've only ever done 2 music videos where we actually had like actors and extras. The first one was This Is Me from The Greatest Showman. And that one was really cool when we did during Pride. And then this one. So this one, they actually put out a call. So these were like actors and extras, but they were all Star Wars fans. So a lot of them costumed themselves. And so like the stuff that you see, like Disney zhuzhed it up, but a lot of them came with like their own stuff because they were DCappella fans and they were Star Wars fans. So something that DCappella does a lot is, to your point, we do, we have the track playing so we know where we're at in the song, but to make it seem a little more energetic and lively, we're all singing as well. It's just not being recorded, the sound.
Yeah.
So they would call cut and we would all be singing and then everybody would like clap for us. And so there were a couple times where we just like kept singing and like getting to talk and interact with fans on set in a music video was really, really cool.
That is so fun.
So memorable.
That's so cool.
My gosh. Big moment.
I was going to ask this later, but now I just got to ask now. Star Wars Celebration just happened. Is there anything, I don't know if you like kept up with it, but since you're a big Star Wars fan, anything that kind of stuck out that you're really, really excited for?
So many things. I am very excited for this new sequel movie that's happening with Rey.
Yeah.
Really pumped about that, mostly because I have to admit it, I'm a Reylo, and I still feel like somewhere in my heart, if Rey is still around, like Ben Solo is not gone. Like they're a dyad in the Force. So like he's still tethered to like her mortal plane, you know? So like, oh, maybe, you know, but very excited about that. Super excited about Ahsoka. My dog is named after Ahsoka. My dog is named Snips.
So awesome.
Yeah. So I have 2 golden retrievers, and the older one, she's 3. Her name is Snips. And then the baby, she's 1. Her name is Fennec Shand.
Oh my gosh, how cute.
Yeah. So anything that has to do with Ahsoka and Fennec, I'm like, yes, give me more of it. Let's keep going.
I'm so glad they released that trailer because I was just hyped. The music, just the scenes that we got to see. Oh, it looks incredible.
It looks like it's going to be amazing.
So cool. Yeah. I am very excited also about Star Wars Celebration that they announced the next one is in Japan.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And I love Japan. Have been there a few times with DCappella, so I immediately was like, cool, putting that on my calendar.
Yeah, right? Can you tell, you know, whoever plans the tours to be like, do it in April, but give us a few days off, like right here. So
let's tour in April this time, right? let's tour in April this time instead of the summer. It'll be cooler, weather-wise and Star Wars-wise. Thank you.
Oh my gosh! Imagine
have some influence.
That'd be the coolest tour ever, performing and Star Wars. Have you been to any like Star Wars Celebration or D23? We have not.
Yeah. So we performed at Star Wars Celebration last year in Anaheim.
Did you
which was really cool.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh my
so
gosh.
DCappella got to perform on the main stage, like in between interviews. We did the Cantina song.
Oh my gosh.
And that was really, really cool. I actually we were backstage and we were like in a holding room, and there were like some of the hosts in the like holding area next to us, and I knew who they were because they're like, you know, it's like Christina Ariel who like hosts the High Republic show and like people like that, and I was like, oh my god, this is so cool, and nobody else knew who they were, and I was like, that's fine, I'm gonna use the restroom, no worries. And I'm walking back from the bathroom, and Ian McDermott is walking towards me.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
A little starstruck.
Oh my gosh.
I was losing it. And I was like, I wonder if he saw my Darth Vader tattoo.
Yeah.
Like, I just like, I kept it cool. I was just like, hi, and like nodded my head, and he was like, hello, and kept walking, and I was like, oh.
He didn't let out a cackle or anything like that? A little evil laugh for
No,
you?
I wanted to nerd out, and then there was this little voice in the back of my head that was like, you're at work, babe.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're right.
After
keep it cool.
Okay.
Keep it cool. Yeah.
So
that was awesome. And that's actually the only time I've ever been to Star Wars Celebration. So like I didn't get to go just as a guest.
Yeah.
It was as a performer. So like I really want to go in Japan and like have the opportunity to just like actually see the different panels and stuff like that, because we didn't get to see anything.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah, well, hopefully you get to be there for that one, because that would be
fingers crossed.
an amazing memory to make.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah. Oh, that is so awesome. Well, so, okay, one big one that we had, and I know a lot of people listening are probably going to just love to hear your answer to this, but do you have any tips for anyone who is trying to get into the music industry? I know that you had an amazing, crazy journey, and you... thanks to your husband, you know, auditioned and got
Shout out.
But obviously, every person's story is different. But do you have any tips for anyone who's trying to get in?
Yeah. First and foremost, exactly what you just said. Like everybody's journey is different, and I've had this conversation with so many people that like there are an infinite number of ways to get to your destination, right? So don't think that just because my path or Orlando's path or Antonio's path or anybody that you admire in music, don't think that their path has to be yours. You can carve your own path. You know, you can learn things from people, absolutely. But everybody's journey is going to look different. And as it pertains to the music industry nowadays, like keep auditioning. It's okay if you hear no 100 times. The job of a performer, the job of a singer, the job of an actor is to audition. When you actually get the gig and you get to do the show, that's the reward for the work that you've put in the audition room. So don't think about auditions as like this like annoying thing that you have to do. Just keep doing it, keep pursuing it, and get better at auditioning, because that is really the job. The reward is the performance, right?
I love that.
And especially nowadays, like put if you want to be a singer, put as much of your music out into the world as possible, whether it's covers or original music. We have a beautiful and free tool that is called social media, that there are people all over the world every single day getting recognized for their artistry because they put themselves out there. And, you know, just create that sounds so cliche, but like, just create what it is that you want to see in the world, and I guarantee you there are other people who want to see the same thing. And there are all the normal things, you know, like you can get agents and management and, you know, practice, absolutely, like do vocal coaching or acting coaching, whatever it is that you're trying to pursue in the creative arts, like absolutely all of those things as well. But things that are within our control that we can do, you know, from our bedrooms, are just putting your art out into the world, and I encourage people to do that as much as possible.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Totally.
I love what you said too. That's such a great mindset of that. The audition process is, you know, you should look at it as a job, and then when you actually get hired, that reward. Because I think so many people, I mean, I haven't had to do that. I know some other people that have had to do that, but I'm sure it gets pretty easy to get burnt out on that. But really kind of switching that mindset and just saying, you know what, I'm putting in that effort. You know, I have to keep on going. And one day you will get rewarded. That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah. And there are so many people in the industry who you hear stories about that like were that close to giving up and went to just one more audition. And like Pedro Pascal, he was just telling the story the other day. Like he was like broke, no money, was like coaching people, but like he couldn't even himself get an acting job. And he was like coaching somebody for an audition and was like, oh, I might be kind of good at this, but like I don't want to poach this audition from my student. And he's really good friends with Sarah Paulson, and Sarah Paulson was like, no, you need to audition for this. This could be really good for you. And he submitted for it, and it was Oberyn from Game of Thrones, and it like catapulted Pedro Pascal's career. And he was like this close to not auditioning for it. And like the girl who plays Alexis on Schitt's Creek, she literally gave up. She was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I haven't booked any gigs. And it was her partner. I'm not sure if they were married at the time, but he was like, no, babe, I really think you should do this one. Like, go for it. And she submitted because of him. And it was like, she was done. She was giving up. And now, like, look at her. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Just having that mindset of like, just keep going, especially if it's something you're passionate about. If you're passionate about it and you know, you love what you do, you love your craft, there's always an infinite number of ways to get to your destination. So don't close the door of opportunity on yourself, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Another story I think about that's similar to that was this person named Kalen who was going to audition, and then her husband Zach, you know, said to audition 1 hour.
Oh my
before
gosh,
closing,
I've never heard that
she
story.
remember DCappella. It's very inspiring. For
Oh my God,
That's so cool. That is so true. You never know when that one is gonna hit. That is so awesome.
You just gotta keep pushing
I'm
through.
inspired now. I want to become a singer.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're gonna
do it.
Maybe.
Do you guys want to start an a cappella group? Let's start an a cappella group.
It might not be the best
teach us?
one. I'll stick to my drumming. But
okay, that's cool.
That's amazing. Yeah,
I love drummers. That's great.
Drum solos for just my whole thing is just drums with nothing else.
Instead of like
cappella, you know.
Yeah, instead of like a drum and bass duo, it'll be a drum and mezzo soprano duo. It'll be great.
Oh,
yeah.
Easy.
We can totally do it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, that is so awesome. So before we end, we wanted to do a little section where we could get to know Kalen's favorites. So a little quick fire round. Just to get to know you a little bit better. Do you wanna start us off here?
Sure. So our first question is, what is your favorite song DCappella has done so far?
Eye to Eye from a Goofy movie.
Oh
yes, it's a great song. So fun.
You guys killed that one.
I was a big champion for that one. Oh yeah, absolutely. The perfect cast. Oh yeah.
Yes.
A fun
I need
song.
I need to learn it. There's this guy on Instagram he dresses up as Powerline, and he does the dance, and I've been really inspired to learn the dance from him. And so I need to just film it with your guys' version.
Oh, and you guys, you follow the Lost Bros, right? Are you?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I've seen you on there before, and I know
Big
that
Lost
they
Bros
did. They
fan.
did a cover of
Eye to Eye
as well, which is also so fun.
They just did Love is an Open Door, and it hits so hard.
good.
It's so
It
good.
is really good.
Wasn't that like the pop punk style, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
It's really good.
They're great people.
They kill it. Love
The
it.
day it came out, I was driving to Disneyland and I like rolled all my windows down and turned it all the way up. I was like, this is so good.
It was so well done.
Yeah, they have some great covers. So
They
much
do.
fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so kind of the flip side of that. What song would you like DCappella to do? There's so many
Any bucket list
great Disney
songs?
songs,
Oh,
but you
man,
guys have
there's so
already
many.
done so many, so it's hard.
Yeah.
Can I say 2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I've always wanted to do Can You Feel the Love Tonight with Orlando.
Oh,
Oh
my
As a
gosh.
duet with the two of us. I've always wanted to do that, and Show Yourself
So
from
good.
Frozen 2.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
that'd be amazing.
I
That'd be
could
so
totally see
powerful.
both of those happening.
Yeah, that'd be so great. You know, one that came to mind because, it came
Tell
back
me.
recently, and I feel like it would be so great. Happily Ever After, the Magic Kingdom show. I feel like that'd be so beautiful. The original is with
love
Jordan
that.
Fisher, right?
I
and I
love
feel like
it.
you guys
It's
would
so
just
good.
kill that. I know it's so powerful. I love all the Disney park songs.
Yeah,
and I'm
me
like,
too.
All
come
the
on.
show songs.
Just makes me want to cry.
we got to do an Epcot medley. That's like all the like
Oh,
OG
so
nostalgic
good.
songs from Epcot.
Really
So
good.
I'm hoping, and I keep like, hey guys, remember? What I would love to do is a medley like that, but of like the different parks songs. So like Magic Happens from here at Disneyland,
Oh my
Happily
gosh.
Ever After, Wishes, like all of those like iconic like Castle and Parade songs. I'm
Yes.
like, can
I
we
would
do
die.
a medley?
Oh my
It'd be so
gosh.
fun.
Yeah. If
would be
whoever
so
is in
good.
charge of that is listening to that, I would honestly be that song would
It
be
would
on
be on
repeat. I'd be
repeat.
crying all day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because those shows always
every
make me
every
so
time
emotional.
every time it gets brought up of like what songs are we gonna do next, I'm always like, hey, don't forget I said this, remember? That's how we got to do Eye to Eye, was because I
Really?
like kept pushing it, and finally I had a whole elevator pitch. I was like, y'all, it's the 25th anniversary of a Goofy movie this year, and I had like statistics, and at the time
Timing
you
is
could
perfect.
not stream Tevin Campbell's version of Eye to Eye or Stand Out.
What?
You couldn't stream either of them on Spotify. The rest of the soundtrack was there, but neither of those were available unless you purchased the album like from iTunes or something. So I was like, there's
insane.
no official Disney. There were covers, but I was like, there's no official Disney version of this song available on Spotify. It's the 25th anniversary of a Goofy movie. This and this and this. We should, and they were like, fine, shut up, we'll do it. And it was and we all had so much
was
fun
meant
with
to
it, and
be.
it ended up being like
That's so
one of
good.
our biggest songs, and I'm like, you're welcome.
Like, yeah, that was
It's
me.
all the millennials who grew up with that, like
Right?
Yeah.
younger. That
We're just waiting
come
for
on,
that to come
Power
out.
is incredible. Stand out too. You
Exactly,
guys have to do Stand Out.
I know, I would love to do Stand Out, but yeah, definitely I've always wanted to do Can You Feel the Love Tonight as a duet with Orlando. I would
love
cry
that.
probably the whole time, but we could do
yeah?
it in the studio.
Such a
Oh, yeah.
beautiful song. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
one of the best.
Oh yeah, that'd be amazing.
Okay, so next question. Favorite place that you have toured?
Japan. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, we've done like one-off performances. I wasn't in the group full time when we did the US tour. So both of the tours I've done with the group have been in Japan. So definitely Japan. Favorite city. I really loved Osaka when we got to perform in
nice.
Osaka. It's amazing. Tokyo is phenomenal. And I love Fukuoka. Fukuoka is really, really
Ooh.
a beautiful city. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Are your Japan tours usually like a week when you go over there, or how many
No,
tour dates?
last summer we were there for over 2 months. So
Whoa.
yeah, yeah. So we
That's
were.
crazy.
I basically lived in Tokyo for 6 weeks. They got us apartments,
Whoa.
like apartment style living. So like I had an apartment. We all did in the same building, in Tokyo for 6 weeks. We had a residency there, and then the last 2 or 2.5 weeks of the tour, we traveled the rest of the country, and we did like
Wow.
6 different cities those last 2 weeks. But yeah, it was a long
How
tour.
fun.
How cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Exhausting probably, but
Very
so
much so.
amazing. Such
Yeah,
amazing
so
memories.
amazing. Yeah, it's
That's so
really cool. It's long, it's a long show. It's 2 acts. So it's like a 2-hour show, and like we were talking about earlier, there's no instruments. It's all voices for
Yeah.
the entire 2 acts, and it can be really tiring. I mean, we tried to go and explore as much as possible, but we would also go to brunch and be like, okay, don't talk to me.
Yeah,
Because we're like trying to like protect
Rest
our
up.
voices, you know.
For a while.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
man. A lot
Makes
of
sense.
honey, right? Throat coat.
So much
Yeah.
honey.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And they have great like throat remedy stuff there too. Like they have this one honey that they bought for us. They gave us like the actual honey, but also like throat lozenges made out of the honey. And I like bought more to bring home with me, and I still use them because they were just like the
Really?
best thing I've ever used for my throat. Yeah.
Wow. Oh
incredible.
my
Yeah,
gosh.
that
I
gets so
guess they know what they're
tiring.
doing.
Yeah.
They really do. Japan's
gross.
next level.
That's so awesome.
Amazing.
So next up, do you have any vocal inspiration or like favorite artist?
Oh man. My favorite singer probably of all time is Shoshana Bean.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know if she was in Elphaba on Broadway a very long time ago. And she was, I shouldn't say very long time ago, but like 10 years ago. And she was in Elphaba on Broadway, and she was in Waitress. She just did, what was that show, Saturday Night something, show with Billy Crystal that just closed on Broadway.
Okay.
Look up any of her music, any of her covers. She did a cover of I Did Something Bad by Taylor Swift. It's her and Cynthia Erivo. It's one of the best things I've ever heard in my entire life. But Shoshana Bean is just like the vocalist that I aspire to be. And then, of course, Celine Dion. But like nobody can ever be Celine Dion.
That's amazing.
She's in her own world.
Yeah. Okay.
She
I
doesn't
wrote-
even exist on this plane.
I wrote Shoshana Bean down. 'Cause
Yeah.
we're gonna have
Yes.
to
We'll
be
dive into
looking
her
it up.
music. Yes.
Definitely look her up. She's got original music. She does a lot of beautiful covers. Yeah, she's my favorite vocalist. Like if I could like make a deal with Ursula, just like switch vocal cords with somebody, it would be Shoshana Bean.
Oh
That's
my
awesome.
gosh, I love it. Okay, next question. Back on the Star Wars topic, what is your
Yeah.
favorite Star Wars movie?
You guys, this is controversial, and I know that. My favorite Star Wars movie is Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Nice.
Okay.
And
I
know. Everybody's like, the prequels, meh. It is the
No.
story of how it's a
Yeah.
truncated story of how Anakin becomes Vader, and it is so. Aside from like some of the corny dialogue and stuff that you have in the prequels, like the story and the storytelling is so rich, and how like Anakin's downfall is just it's great.
intense.
It's pivotal
my-
to
like-
the entire Star Wars
Yeah.
universe. Yeah.
Exactly. And
It's
when
a,
I
it's
first
a very underrated movie
I think
of,
so
of
too.
the prequels.
I think so too. Now, Episode 2, we don't talk about her. She's okay. She's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
she's like Thor the Dark World. It's like she exists,
Yeah.
but we don't talk about her.
Oh,
No, but that's what we have Clone Wars, the TV show, for, right? That like makes up for it. But no, Episode 3 is my favorite, and because Anakin / Vader is my favorite character. And when I first watched Star Wars, I was an adult. My family didn't watch Star Wars when I was a kid, and so
crazy.
everybody was like, "Oh, you should watch it in this order. You should watch it in this order." And I was like, "I'll do my own research, thanks." And I found an article. Somebody had interviewed George Lucas, and in the article he said, "Well, Anakin Skywalker is the main character of the entire like series, like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Anakin's the main character." And I was like, okay, well, if Anakin's the main character, I'm gonna watch it from when Anakin's a kid and then see the story from that perspective. So I watched them in story order, not in release order.
Nice.
And even watching them that way, like from the get, Episode 3 was my favorite.
That's
Yeah.
so awesome. Yeah, I had when I first saw Episode 3 in theaters when I was younger, the dialogue kind of took me out of it, and for a while I didn't watch it. But then when 7 was about to come out, I rewatched all of them again, and I was like, wait, why did I like skip over 3? Like, it wasn't showing it love, and I actually loved seeing his transition to the dark side. It's so emotional with him and Padme.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And
it is-
Obi-Wan, that
Oh,
scene,
and with
that final
Obi-Wan,
scene
yeah.
with them is
You were like a
ugh,
brother to me. Come on. Oh,
pretty gut-wrenching.
you're my brother.
You were the
Yeah,
chosen
oh,
one.
Yeah, I loved you. It's like, come
So
on.
sad.
know.
It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
sad.
You were
I
my
remember
brother
when we
Anakin.
first- yeah. Oh my. I remember when we first started following each other. What's it called? Obi-Wan Kenobi was coming out, and so we would chat a little bit back and forth about like the episodes, and just seeing Hayden back
Oh my
and
gosh.
Ewan McGregor back there. It was so emotional. But
I
yeah, no,
love it.
episode
And, like,
3. Yeah.
I
Slept
love
on
what
all of
both
it.
of them have said too, like at last year's Star Wars Celebration and this year. They've just gotten so much more love than they ever did when the prequels were out.
Yeah.
You know, people were just like they have been with the sequel trilogy. Like, people are ruthless. Like, they forget. Like, we can read what you say online. You know, like you're talking about us online and in the comments or, you know, on Twitter or whatever. And like, you're putting these people's real names and like they can go see it and read what you're saying. And so it's really amazing that the fan base has since like really turned around the other way as it pertains to Hayden Christensen specifically, because like he got it pretty tough, and like so did Natalie Portman during the prequels. And so the fact that like he's at Star Wars Celebration now and everybody's like chanting his name and he's like tearing up on
It's so
stage, I'm like,
emotional.
I know.
I love
Yeah.
you. I'm so proud of
I
you.
know.
Very
I don't
sweet
know
moment.
you, but I'm proud of you.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
seriously, shout out to Ahmed Best too, who played Jar Jar,
Yeah.
you know, and him
I
saving
know.
Grogu in Mandalorian. It's so cool that a lot of
Yeah.
these people have
Getting their redemption.
because a lot of the people that grew up with those movies as kids, you know, are now older, and they're like, yeah, no, that was my childhood, and
Yeah.
there's no reason to hate, and there's no reason to
I know.
There's
People
really
even
not.
tell
stay
me.
apart and everything. So
And
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I love about, you know, the current era of Star Wars that we're in, and like who's in charge of creating these stories at Lucas. You know, like you have like Dave Filoni, who is, you know, at the helm of a lot of it, and Kathleen Kennedy, and they're offering and presenting and creating these stories for those type of redemption moments, either for characters or for the actors. And you can tell that they truly care and love Star Wars so much. Like the people who are creating Star Wars now are Star Wars fans. And you can really see it in a lot of the media that we're getting and a lot of the actor choices and, you know, storylines that they're fleshing out now or bringing back. And it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh yeah,
It is. It
totally.
is. They're very passionate about it.
Yeah.
Everybody that's involved now, you can totally see
Yeah.
the passion
Yeah.
in them and what they're coming out with.
It's so awesome. It's so cool. So the
good.
last one here, and I know a lot of our fans love the parks, or fans or listeners. But yeah, they love the Disney parks. They love Disney rides, all that good stuff. So we have to ask at the end here, what is your favorite Disney ride?
Ooh, oh no. Okay. Well, Rise of the Resistance, obviously.
Ooh, yep.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely my favorite, just on principle alone. But also, it's one of the
Yeah.
greatest rides ever made, ever, anywhere.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
But I will say, coming in at a super close second is Cosmic Rewind, the Guardians of the Galaxy coaster
we
at
still
Epcot.
We have
Been on
not been on
it
it
you
You
yet.
got,
pretty
you
incredible.
gotta
We've
go
seen
and
POV
call me when you
videos, yeah.
do. You
Okay,
gotta go.
yes.
It's so good.
Oh my
We've
gosh.
heard a lot of people have ranked it
Yes.
as a top front runner at this point.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
because of the, like, no spoilers, but like because of the way the ride is made and like the ride vehicle, I was just certain that I was gonna get motion sick, because like I love Star Tours, but like that's like an end of the day thing for me, because I will get motion sick after and it'll ruin my
Yeah.
day. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do Cosmic Rewind because it's new and we were there for the media event. And I was like, I'm doing it, but I know I'm not gonna feel good after. And it wasn't. Like the way they've made it
Really?
is so
That's so-
smooth, and the way, oh my
Wow.
god, it's perfect. Yeah, it's
That
great.
is so
That
Great
is
ride.
good to know. My motion
Yes.
sickness has gotten worse and worse over the years as well. So every time
Yeah.
I saw like video, like POV of it, I was like, I don't know.
I
don't know
was
if can
I
do
was
it.
afraid. I really was, and I got off the ride and I was like, "Can we go again? Like, can we do it again? That was awesome."
Wow. Well, that kind of wraps up our questions for you. Thank you so
Cool,
much for
okay.
being on our show. It was such a blast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it. It's been so fun.
Yes.
It was so fun.
So before we go, what's next for you? What's next for DCappella? And where can people find you on socials or websites or all that good stuff?
Yeah. So what's next for me? I recently became a magic key holder at Disneyland, so I'll be there a lot.
Was that today or was that
No.
recently? 'Cause
I
know
got
that
one
new
in
magic
the
keys are-
last the last
one.
round of sales. So like a month or two ago,
nice.
whenever that was. So yeah,
Nice.
I really love living in LA and being so close to Disneyland. So I've just been like getting the lay of the land here and singing, doing some band work here while we're not on the road doing stuff for DCappella. So you can follow me on Instagram at Kalen, Kalen M Kelly, and see what I'm up to there. Come say hi to me at the parks. I go all the time. DCappella, we are... I can't share anything at the moment. No, but please go stream our music on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, all the fun stuff. Our music videos that we talked about, you can find those on YouTube, and we appreciate all the love and support there. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, so that got me so, and I'm just gonna be like refreshing Spotify until some new stuff comes out. I'm so excited.
It happens, whatever it is. So and we'll be in the park next month, so maybe we'll just run into you.
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah, no, let me know when you guys are gonna be there, because I do go pretty frequently.
Awesome.
So yeah, maybe we can meet up. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be so much fun. Well, thank you so much again, Kalen. This has been such a blast.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great night.
See you later.
You too. Bye.
Thanks again, Kalen, for coming onto our show. We had such a blast, and it really meant so much for you to join. And hopefully we can make that Disneyland trip happen next month, because it'd be so fun to meet in person.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah, it has to be done for sure. Also, thanks to all of you listening in and just supporting our show. It means so much, and we just couldn't thank you more.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. We had a blast with this interview. We're so thankful to Kalen for coming on. We're so thankful to all of you for listening. We know you're all going to love this episode. She's just such an amazing person. It was so fun hearing her story.
Yeah.
So thank you again, Kalen. And we will see all of you guys next week for another episode.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.